So to sum up or to maybe recreate what we have already learned, is what we do is basically we go to the prompts input and graph mapper and create sort of a graph mapper based or graph mapper controlled curve. What we do is basically we create a series of like let's say series of points. This time our waist is gonna be, let's say, 50 centimeters. So what we are going to do is we are going to create 50 points maybe by 10 by adding them onto like 10 millimeters each. And if I go and grab a vector point, that is going to be my set directions, right? And if you, as you see now, this is my very simple ways. And maybe this view might be a bit big, so I go here, push options and grid, and instead of grid line count is, I can say 5, maybe too small, 50 is okay. Or you can change the line spacing, but this is good for now. So that's basically it. Why don't we now use this? Obviously I need to zoom in again. Use this as my base and then create sort of vase or set of vases. What I will be doing, I'll be creating a range, and the range, what we have here, like 50 values, we have to have 50 values here, so that I'll be using 49 here. Okay, or what we can do, we can say subtract, and we can connect these two together. So we can subtract 1, so that I'll grab a panel, because when we use a panel to create a numeric value, it's a static value, it's always taking out 1. When we have sort of a slider, we can forget to move it up and down. So now we have 50 values here. If I right click to this and then say, I don't know, power, you see we have this kind of an approach and with this kind of values over here. And if I now remap these values, this time these values are going to be remapped. Source is 0 to 1, and my domain, construct domain, let's say 0 to, I don't know, like if 500, maybe too much, but we'll see. And if I connect this to my X values, you see it goes all over the place. Or if I put this into Y values, you see it goes. If I do both, you'll see that it's going to do the same thing but rotate it onto middle. So we can grab it on the, we can keep it on the X. And when I change this, you see it's being changed. This may not be a really nice graph to work with, so why don't we grab, I don't know, like you see this purling kind of a thing. It's sort of weird. Maybe something a bit further smaller, like visible, like a polarity. This is not something that we really want to deal with. It's easier maybe. Something like this. And you see, I cannot still focus on the view, so I just select this and zoom into this point. So now maybe I can see it way better. Okay, now it's better. So what we are going to do next is basically converting this into a curve. So interpolate curve. So I couldn't type it correctly probably, so I come over here and say interpolate, put all these points in and make it up. So how I'm going to convert this into a vase? So if I come over to surface and under freeform, if I select rail revolution, oops, sorry, not rail revolution, revolution. This is my curve, and my axis is going to be what? My axis is going to be Z. So I'll create an STL. STL meaning starting point, direction, and length. So if I come over here and then select another point as my starting point, my direction is Z direction, so I can grab a Z vector to make sure things are automatic. And for the length, I can say, doesn't matter, about 50. These are not changing anything. This is just to create an axis. And when I put this in, you see it creates this guy over here. And if I change this, you see nothing is changing. It's basically putting a sort of a circle that starts from here, or that centered itself to the point that we create, and then move it over. If I put 50 here, you see it comes smaller or larger. Okay, and we can put, I don't know, like another 50 for y value as well. Okay, it centers itself again based on these values too. So like this is basically how we are creating the surface. However, the good part of this is, oh, by the way, the domain is now basically how we want it to close itself. We want it to now have like 0 to 2 multiplied by pi, which means 360. So we are not going to change this. If you want to change this, so you can say, you can create a domain, like let's say 0 to pi. Factor is 1, 0 to pi. So what we're gonna see, you see, it's something as such. Okay, if you want to say 1.5, you'll see it's basically doing something as such. But when we exceed that limit of 2, it's gonna be giving us a flag. So you don't need to deal with it. So I'm deleting it now. The good thing, or the fun part of this, is now we can start playing with this, right? And since we have like 50 points, and what we can say is, instead of 10, we can increase this by 50 and started to see how it changes, right? It turns into more like a beer glass right now, obviously, and we can convert it into something as such. And also, like, what we can do is we can always change this by like copy this and paste maybe, and put another graph type. So let's say sign, and then put that in. You see, it's sort of weird now with the sign values, but you can play around with it and explore more options. Copy this and paste, and maybe create sort of I don't know, like a linear one, and connect it over here so it goes really like a vase. But maybe you do something as such. It's like more like a can, kind of a thing. So that's basically it from this video, and I hope you like it. Maybe I can change this to, maybe just give me a second. I can change this to something a bit more cooler than this, so that you see it. Yeah. So you see how we can create geometry by using graphmapper. And in the next videos, I'll be talking about a bit further control of this or this formation or another kind of structures.